Good afternoon, and welcome to our continuing series, Interviews with Disciples and Devotees. Today, once again, we are pleased to have Kittu with us. Namaste, Kittu.
Thank you very much.
Kittu, could you begin today? Perhaps we'll cover the ideal of human unity later, but speak a bit on education in India in our current time.
I'll tell you that, see, when Kirit Bhai came here, he came here in 1958, 6th of November. He passed his IS exam in March or April that year, and he was posted as collector in Surat. Within 6 months, he left everything and came over to Pondicherry. The reason was that he had chanced upon this book called The Life Divine, because he was by training and nature a philosophical mind. He read that book in 18 days. As he said, he used to work for 14 hours reading that book, and gave a first reading and was absolutely bowled out. The consequence was there is no point in living this kind of life. So he applied to the mother, and mother straight away accepted him. So he came on 6th of November. At that time we had a registrar who was more a registrar in name, who would visit the school for half an hour, sit in his office, and nothing else. The school was actually run by Shishidda, who was known as the headmaster, because the director was Pavitrada, and he was the man who would take all the decisions in consultation with Shunilda and a few others, right? A small team. Now, when Kirit Bhai came, Kirit Joshi, and the laboratory in charge is D.V. Joshi. D.V. Joshi, before Kirit Bhai came, was deeply involved in the administration of the school. At that time, the administration of the school meant the classes were fixed by the administration. You are in this age group, you were the history students, this was your teacher, you had 2 periods a week. If you had French, you had 6 periods a week. If you had English, you had 6. Everything was directed by the administration. They fixed up the whole thing. And then when Kirit Bhai came here, he formalized it still more. He introduced what is known as the quarterly tests. Actually, they were not quarterly, they were once in 3 years, where all the students of the secondary and the higher course, which had just begun to pick up, were subject to exams for 2 weeks at a stretch, 3 times a year, March, July and October.
Now, you haven't mentioned how Kirit became in charge.
Yes, I forgot to tell you that. When Kirit came here, D.V. Joshi, knowing that he is an IAS officer, knowing that there is nobody who is in charge of the school, who is running it actually, except Shishidda, he went and proposed to Pavitrada that a gentleman has come who is from the IAS, he has been attracted to the mother. I would suggest that he can be made the registrar. So his name was proposed to mother by Pavitrada, and mother immediately accepted it. So he came on the 6th, and I think on the 12th or 18th, he became registrar. In 1958, he became the registrar. And I'll bring a little personal anecdote. At that time, I had finished my studies in 54, 55. Mother told me, you see, in October every year from 1951, I used to go to mother and say, Mother, the holidays are coming, I would like to work somewhere. So she would select the workshop, which was in the room where Chom used to sit, just across, near the room that side. And there I used to work, and mother knew that I was horrible with my hands. Doing work with my hands was not good. She said that will be very good for you. So lathe and filing and all that. So I went and worked there for some time. Then suddenly in 54, when I went in 55 October, when I went to mother as usual to say that I am resuming my work in the workshop, mother said, no, I have some work for you. And this is how it happened. On the 15th of August 1955, mother came to Golconda. She climbed right up to the top floor. On the western side, in 2 rooms, there was an exhibition put up by Gautam Chawla. It was mother's things which she had acquired in Japan, which she had kept extremely carefully. All that in 2 you have seen those rooms, no? Very big rooms. So in those 2 rooms, the exhibition was held. So on 15th of August 1955, at about 5 o'clock, mother climbed up, went there, and she saw the whole exhibition. Then she went to Gautam's room. Now Gautam's room was on the extreme east on the top floor. So she went to that one room, and then while coming out, she was looking through the shutters at the buildings in front. And that building in which Nirata lives, Nirata,
Yes.
not Ranganath, but the other family, Parikshit and others, right?
Parikshit, yes.
She saw from there, and she saw many cracks on the terrace. She just noted it in her mind and said, oh, this is not safe. So in October, when I went to the mother to ask her for work, she said, no, you are going to rebuild that house. I said, and no masons, nobody. I said, Mother, I've never worked. She said, doesn't matter, you start. You will learn. You see, that is how exactly in Pushpa's interview, when Jayanti her elder brother, came here, mother said, you teach French. He says to mother that I don't know one word of French. The mother says, exactly why you must teach. So learn and teach, right? And Jayanti used to go and pick up any Frenchman, talk to him and learn some French. And within a few years, he was an authority in French. French teachers would come to him to learn. So you see, mother's ways are...
Then we had Albert Da.
Huh?
Albert Da.
Yeah.
He said, I want to work. I don't want to do yoga. And mother said, okay, you'll be my tailor. He said, I've never stitched a thing. You'll be my tailor.
Mother always has said, and she has told this to me personally and to many others, the best way of learning a thing is to teach it. If you don't know, also start. So you will learn and you will teach. You will learn and you will teach at the same time. Right? So she told me, and after next day again in the playground, she told me that I've asked 2 others to join you, or 3 of you together, Visheshwar, Mona, Captain Mona, and myself. We 3 were to work with no laborers. You have to break the house. You have to build it from scratch, build up the foundation.
Oh my.
The only help that we can give you is Vishwanatha.
Oh.
Vishwanatha was the architect engineer of the ashram, right? He was not really an architect, he was an engineer. So we went and starting from scratch, We broke that house. Now, breaking a house also is not easy, because there were no bulldozers, nothing of the kind. We had to break bit by bit, we had to break. Broke the whole house, took all that garbage and had it, we got lorries to be disposed of. Then we had to make the foundation. Bricklaying I had to do, never done in my life. So did bricklaying, naturally a little trial and error, plastering, and we started in 55 November, and mother suddenly decided that I am coming to open the house on the 24th of April 1957. And in January, when she told us, there was so much work left. My God, we worked like mad till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock at night. And since I was the captain of the young men's group, we used to get all of them to work. Just after the group hours and before the group hours, they would all join us. So it was a band of 20 or 30 boys, right, who had absolutely no training, no experience, learning, and we built it up, right? And so that house has come up. But then afterwards it was re-broken again because they wanted one more floor, and not broken but modified to a very great extent. So now when Kirit Bhai became the registrar in 1959, since I had done that building, I was working in the drawing office with Vishwanatha. And Gauri Pinto also used to work there. And we used to go to houses, draw the full plan, right, of every house. Ashram first, even mother's first floor, we have got and made the drawings of that, right? Then cycle house and this house and that house, it was going on like that. And then in 1958, when Kirit Bhai became the registrar, without even my knowledge, in 1957, D.V. Joshi made me a teacher of mathematics at the primary level. In the morning, I was suddenly told that you are a teacher of this. So, well, it was already done. So I said I shall write to mother. Mother said, yes, you can take 4 periods a week. Vishwanatha was furious. I said, look, I can't do anything. I wrote to mother. If mother has said you can take 4 periods. Next year, again, without my information, in 58 December, so that means the whole of 59, I was given 12 periods. And Vishwanatha was again fuming. What to do? I wrote to mother again, and mother said, continue. So in 59 March, I remember that I was, during the interval at 9:30, which was for soup, I was walking up and down in front of the teacher's room. Not March, July. Kirit Bhai came out from his office, which was just behind, and he said, you come in, I want to talk to you. I went in. He said, you see, in the last few days, the athletics competition has been going on, and I'm hearing your name, Kittu first in 100 meters. Kittu has made the ashram record. Kittu first in 4. This name Kittu hit me. And somehow I felt that I must get you along with me. So I want you to join my office and start working in the office. I said, that doesn't depend on me. I sat in front of him and Shishidda and wrote a letter to mother that this is the proposal, what should I do? Mother said, work with Kirit. So Vishwanatha out and Kirit in. Vishwanatha was shaking in anger. He didn't talk to me for 3 years. I said, I can't do anything about it. This is entirely not proposed by me. It has come from somebody else. So since that day, I started working very closely with Kirit Bhai. Now, Kirit Bhai was an IAS officer. So he had contact with the government. And quite naturally to him, although it has been misinterpreted very badly, he wanted that the school should have some connection with the government. There were two reasons. One is that we could get grants. The second reason was that many of the students after 1958, when the mother withdrew, mother stopped coming to the playground on December 7th, 1958, because of apparently tooth problems and all that. But from what I have read afterwards, it was that she decided to concentrate on her bodily transformation and not spend her time on meeting people and so much. So she reduced that to a very big extent. So Kirit was very keen that we should have some contact with the government. And he spoke to Pavitrada and mother encouraged it.
Oh.
And this years later I have seen in the 72-73 period when we used to go to mother regularly. Sometime Kirit used to go to Delhi to meet government officials to get the government grant. And when he used to come back and meet mother straight in front of all of us, mother was delighted. Mother didn't want us to be isolated from the rest of the country and ultimately even of the world. After all, it is called Sri Aurobindo International Center of Education, right? So that is the reason why, of course, there are people here who are very, very critical of him, who didn't want anything to do with the government, because they feel that government interference will... Anyway, whatever it is, their opinion, it is at that time that he started. And being an IAS officer, his first instinct was, how do I bring this philosophy of the mother and Sri Aurobindo on education into the government levels, right? And that is when he started working gradually. 61, 62. In 62, an UGC commission came to Pondicherry. 61. And I remember two names, C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer. He's a very famous man from Kerala. And another lady called Muriel Vasi. You can check up on the net. Muriel Vasi. She was an educationist of a very high order. She was, I think, Anglo-Indian or something like that. We had a meeting. It was wonderful. They were delighted. They were charmed. And they said the school is absolutely wonderful. And then when they reported this to mother, mother said, good, but don't try it outside. It will be a total failure. You see, this is an institution where we are all living close together, where teachers and students are friends, not teachers. Mother used to scold Pavitrada in front of all of us, tear him to bits, and we are standing there. And Pavitrada would nod his head and say, we mayor. Absolute humility, right? In a walking race in a sports ground, while turning the corner, he slipped a little bit, he stepped on the grass, which is against the rules. So he was disqualified. And then mother gave him a terrific scolding. In conscience, it was right in front of us. And Pavitrada, wonderful man, I salute him. Absolutely we man. Not the slightest feeling of anything, right? So, that is how we... So once I joined the school and the administration, I used to take the initiative generally. Kirit Bhai would go to Pavitrada and make his suggestions. Pavitrada would go to mother. There was always an intermediary. I said that I am not going to do that. I am going to write to mother directly. I have known her for a long time, from 1941. So why hesitate? So in 30 years here, I used to write to her directly, right? And I have sent one letter to you, you have seen, about the school's condition, and then mother's reply, which I have translated, and that also I have sent to you. Because mother categorically stated that she supports the free system, and the aim of the free system and the aim of our school is to help the children who have, the elite children in a certain sense, to develop to their maximum capacity and potential. For the others who cannot work unless there is imposed discipline, well, we'll have to tailor the system according to their needs. But it must be understood that it is a privilege to be part of the free system. And that is our ultimate aim, to prepare everybody to move to the free system.
But there was a lot of resistance.
There was,
A lot of resistance to the free system.
I was the chief resistor. I wrote to her and said that, Mother, this is exactly what is happening in the free system. Because Tanmayada, when he introduced it lock, stock and barrel. Every student. And more than, out of 154, 7 were good and very good. The rest were, at least 125 were bad, or wasting their time. So I wrote to Mother, all this is dreams, but the reality is very different. And Mother wrote back, in spite of all what you might all think, if there are 7 persons out of 154 who have controlled their life and who know what they want in life and are disciplined enough, it is wonderful. I am very satisfied. You see,
5%.
a mother's point of view is so different from the normal point of view. So then she said, you can have 2 systems and continually keep shifting from one to the other according to their performance. Every month or every 2 months, right? You look at the boy, he's misusing his freedom, put him back. This boy is working very hard and seriously, give him a chance, right? And so that is how the free system and the system that was already there, which was free system, was known as vers la perfection, towards perfection. When I wrote this letter and I asked Mother to give the name, she said en avant, going forward, right? So in I don't remember, 63 or 62, we had 2 systems. One was the free system, one was en avant, which was partially fixed and partially free. The other one was completely free. And all the students would say, that is India, this is Pakistan. We were Pakistan. Then Tanmayada and myself, we wrote to Mother that is it not desirable that we work together? Mother said, absolutely. Tanmayada resisted for 1 year. But then after that he said, no, we must become. So after that it has become EAVP, en avant vers la perfection. That system exists even today.
I see.
Right? And the double system exists in EAVP 4, 5 and 6 before they enter the higher course. Some students are given freedom, some are not given freedom. But in the higher course, all are given freedom.
What about examinations?
Again, there I was directly involved because I was given the charge of holding examinations. We had 3 examinations, quarterly examinations per year, and they counted. We had a mark sheet, 40% quarterly exam, 20% class exam, 20% homework, 10% behavior and regularity. So that made 100%. So there was a progress report which used to be filled up regularly. And I had to, for the quarterly tests, that was thrice a year, March, July and October, I had to get the question papers from all the teachers, I had to give them to the typist, Hare Krishna, if you remember. He used to type them absolutely confidential, 15 copies, 20 copies, 10 copies, depending on the number of. And then I had to give it to the teacher who would come on the day of invigilation. And so from Monday to Saturday 1 week, and again Monday to Saturday another week, we had quarterly tests. So Monday morning 8 to 11 English, Tuesday morning 8 to 11 French, Wednesday morning 8 to 11 mathematics, Thursday morning 8 to 11 physics, and Friday chemistry, and the other days Bengali and English and other languages, etc., etc. That is how it was done, right? Absolutely like the old system, right? Tanmada was continuing that side with his free system, with a handful of students. You know Kiran Kakkad? He was one of the first to be there. So that age group, they were all there. And they were good. They were doing well. And this side we had so India, Pakistan. So I was not comfortable. So I wrote to mother. And then mother gave the name Anava. And then after 1 year, the two systems became joined. Right? That means the whole secondary is now in the combination of free system, but it starts only at 4, 5, 6. That means at the age of 15, 16, 17. 18 they are in the higher course. And that was done deliberately because mother said, till the age of 14, you must educate the child. You must take the responsibility of giving him all that is needed. And when the question was asked, I asked that question, what is it that you say is needed, the minimum? She said, reading, writing and speaking at least one language reasonably well, and preferably learn to speak and to be familiar with a few more languages. The elements of mathematics. And there were many discussions, how much is the elements, right? So again, arithmetic and this and that. And then the elements of science. And there she was very clear. Not theoretical science only. It is there. But science applied to life. Otherwise, science has no value. It must be applied to life, right? It must change life. It must improve life, right? And that is nowadays called technology, right? But theoretical physics and theoretical chemistry, no use. You must understand this. And mother gave a tremendous importance to chemistry. She said, if you look carefully, relations between human beings can be put into the term of vital chemistry. Is it a fact or not? You like some people, you are repelled by some people. Some are neutral, right? So she said that it is very important to understand chemistry, even from the point of view of yoga. You will find how it helps you to, turn towards, because each one has to find out what influence, what book, what contact takes him up, and what pulls him down, right? And then there are catalyzers who do nothing but play a role in getting the whole thing done. You see, if you look carefully at your life, you will find that there are some who are very positive influence on you, some who have very negative influence on you, and some who have catalyzers. They do nothing, but they create the conditions by which you are. I have watched very carefully myself and I can pick out and put them positive, negative, catalyzer. Negative, I try to keep my distance. I don't fight with them, I don't argue with them. That you can't do anything about it. But there are some negative influences where I have no choice. I have to go to work somewhere, they are there, right? But then again, as mother says, if you learn to look at the positive side of that man, right, you will find that over a period of time, without any words, that person will start coming towards the right direction, and those negative influences will start, dropping down. In other words, Mother always says it is not by talking, but it is the vibration around you which has an impact on people. So, there are times when people tell somebody who speaks, I thought that Mother was here talking today. Today morning, one Bengali lady told me that when I hear Sradalu, I get the presence of Shri Aurobindo. And when I hear Alok Pandey, I feel sometimes that the Mother is there behind him. She says not always, sometimes. But sometimes that image comes, that impression comes. So it is very good. It means that you are sensitive, that you are able to respond. It's a very positive thing. And she comes to my Monday class. I take a Monday class of Ideal of Human Unity with Santosh and others. She comes there and she wants to meet me on Sunday personally. So she took my telephone number and she says, I'll ring you up and come and spend half an hour with you. It's very enlightening. I feel very happy. I said, that is your problem. I am what I am and I'm not going to change. I'm a little blunt also sometimes, but so that is where Kirit Bhai was very close with the government. And he managed to bring lakhs of rupees as grants for a school. The UGC commission came here. At the beginning, we used to take the computed salary of the teachers. A teacher in the higher course will get, say, 10,000 or 12,000. In the secondary course, will get 8,000. Lower down, will get 4,000. All that was computed because we never got the money. And that money they would send directly, it would go to Mother straight. But laboratory equipment, library equipment, if you go there, you'll see there are many racks in the library. All those racks were bought by the government money. Many books which they would select and ask for were brought by the government. For 2 or 3 years this continued. Then there were people who objected very strongly to this, and their argument was that every time you take money from the government, you are bound. There is an obligation, which is true. That is true even if I take money from you. There is a kind of obligation. If they themselves offered, that would be one thing. So now what we are doing is, we are taking the salary money. I don't know exactly today whether it is being done. A few years back it was going on. That money would come straight to Mother and then afterwards to the ashram. And that is used for the maintenance. Because the ashram is maintaining me. It means my food, my housing, my clothing, my medication, my everything. And if you take my house, there's so many rooms there. I think today you will have to pay 50,000 rupees a month rent, if not more. So all that is taken into account, no? So it is a help to the ashram. That is certainly very.
So what continued after Kirit? When did Kirit stop? Because I know that he helped Oroville greatly.
Now there I'll tell you, Kirit, when he did this, in the ashram there was a very major division between people who were very close to the Mother. There were some who were totally against government help, and Mother she was never rough or rude, she just ignored him. But with Kirit, wherever he used to come back and say, Mother, I've got this much money, I've got. Oh, Mother used to be delighted. I've seen the delight in her face, right? So this continued, and naturally, since he was an IAS officer and a qualified educationist, right, having been registrar for so many years, Indira Gandhi wanted him. So I remember Kirit Bhai asking the mother in front of me that, Mother, if Indira wants me to come, what should I do? Mother says, you must go. You have to go. Because it is me speaking through Indira. And Kirit Bhai got the call from Indira. But as long as mother was in her body, he did not give full time. He used to go there, give ideas, give suggestions as to what can be done, right, etc., etc., etc. But then when mother left her body, and when the emergency was declared, or just before it was declared, Indira asked Kirit Bhai to come there. So he went there. And then much later, when Narendra Modi became Chief Minister of Gujarat, he had interacted with Kirit Bhai in Delhi. And when he was Chief Minister, when he went to Delhi, he used to live in Gujarat House, I think it was called. He went personally to Kirit Bhai's room. He was living in some government quarters. And there he met him personally and asked him that I would like you to help me in the future when the time comes. And then after a few years, he invited Kirit Bhai, and in the Auroville speech he mentioned that I took his advice and his help, and I have tried in my own way to do what I can, right? And he has done that to a great extent. He is very receptive to what we are doing. But then how do you implement it on such a huge scale?
Yes.
Because it means first training of the teachers, second training of the students, and giving them the atmosphere by which a child will not misuse his freedom. In the normal circumstances, when you give a child of 12 or 13 or 14 years old a lot of freedom, first thing is he misuses it. Now then the whole thing will collapse. So you have to go very slowly. The country is too big. The teachers are ill-trained and ill-equipped, right? And the textbooks are not at all up to date, right? But every time we try to change the textbooks which were British-oriented and which showed India from the Mughal period. Before that there was no India.
Influence in education.
Well, in some provinces it is very strong. Tamil Nadu is fairly big. Andhra Pradesh, there is a whole well-organized, well-funded group from the Vatican. They are trying, and unfortunately, my own cousin has become a Christian because of money. I mean, I asked him point blank. He said, they paid me so much money. Why should I bother? So he took over. So a few like that. But not one of the BJP ruled states, right? Slowly they are eliminating them, removing their funding, etc., etc. And once the funds stop, then they'll be finished. So for some time, although there are many who don't agree with me, I would like all the states of India to be under the BJP with almost no opposition, which is not very desirable from a certain point of view. But after a few things have been settled, then I would like a very strong Congress opposition. India has to get its footing. Once it gets its footing, and that will happen by 2022 or 24, then we can, have a healthy, strong opposition. Not the Communist Party, because it is totally un-Indian. It doesn't believe in God, it believes in class struggle. We want to eliminate class struggle, caste struggle, and all that. Bring everyone together. Sabka saath, sabka vikas. So basically, this is it.
Thank you, Kittu. Wonderful.